Black Myth Wukong is one of the most hyped up video game releases of the year, proven by the fact that it's the #1 wishlisted game on Steam currently, but they recently shadow dropped their benchmark test and it is blowing other games' betas and demos out of the water. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, why do we care about the player numbers of a benchmark test? And that is just because of the sheer numbers we are already seeing. It hit 85,000 concurrent players in less than a day. It's not even a game that you're playing currently. It's just a benchmark test to see if your computer can handle different graphic settings, and it is doing fantastic. Imagine the amount of people who are not going to download the benchmark test that are buying it, that are playing it. Now, we already knew that this was going to be a gigantic release because it is the #1 wishlisted game on Steam, but it seems that it might even blow away those expectations that we had. Taking a quick peek over on SteamDB, as you can see, the #1 spot is Black Myth Wukong, and it's also the #1 top seller on the platform currently, and it has 617,000 followers, and we're only a couple of days away from release, so I do think that the follower number is going to skyrocket simply because we're getting so close to launch. But as you can see, the number 2, 3, 4, 5 spots do not even come close in terms of follower count, so it will be interesting to see how much it continues to skyrocket, but you also have to consider this is coming out on PlayStation 5 as well. It was delayed on Xbox, which is definitely sad for Xbox players, but we don't know the PlayStation numbers. I would assume that they're also probably extremely good. And the fact that this benchmark test is doing so good is pretty crazy because on one hand, I get why gamers would want to download it and test to see if their PCs can actually run it before purchasing it. But on the other, most games don't have benchmark tests that you can download for free. They just give you the minimum and recommended requirement specs, and you just have to go off of that. So there are so many people who are really hyped and just want to double and triple check that their PCs are actually going to be able to run this, and it's led to these massive concurrent player numbers. It's not even a game. It's not like you're playing it. It's not like you're going through a demo. It's not like it's a beta. And for context, this is 5 times bigger than the Dragon's Dogma 2 free character creator demo that had a 17,000 peak concurrent user. But this is hilarious given over the past few months what betas and demos we have seen release that have been spectacular failures, most notably Concord. Concord is a game that Sony is going to be releasing, by the way, only 3 days after Black Myth Wukong, and it's supposed to be their big Overwatch competitor, but it's basically just a DEI Overwatch clone, but honestly, it's not even really a clone because it's so much freaking worse. But the open beta was a spectacular failure because it didn't even manage to top 2,500 concurrent players. And this was a free open beta to anyone who wanted to play it. They were trying their very best to bring people in by saying, hey, test the game out for free. You'll get access to the maps, all of the characters, and it did not work out for them. I played the beta, I tried to give it a chance, and it was truly terrible. I regret having to play the whatever 4 or 5 hours that I ended up playing it because it was so bad. But Sony has been trying to heavily market this game. It's Firewalk's first release. I think it's going to be their last. And it's just hilarious to see that a benchmark test that, again, isn't even a playable segment of the game has more people than Concord did during their open beta when there were multiple maps and all of the characters accessible. And I do think that it's fair to point out the Flintlock The Siege of Dawn demo numbers because it had an all time peak of 695 gamers. There was basically nobody playing this, and this is what happens when you try to make your games appeal to modern audiences instead of simply sticking with a vision that you feel confident in. And hey, maybe there is a chance that people on these projects like Concord, like Flintlock, truly believed that these were going to be banger releases, that tons of people were going to like them, and they simply were wrong. But it was kind of always clear that a title like Flintlock was going to be a failure because it didn't seem to do anything unique. Same with Concord, it's just a DEI Overwatch shooter. And now we're seeing, of course, Black Myth Wukong absolutely dominate. And the media has been covering all of these games in a very different way. They praised Flintlock, they praised Concord, said both of these games deserved audiences, said that they were really great. I mean, the media's been trying their very best to say that Concord is going to reach the heights of Overwatch, which definitely is not going to happen. But they've, on the flip side, attacked Black Myth Wukong for years at this point. I'm sure that you all remember, but you had IGN come out with the article levying wild accusations towards the CEO and developers at Game Science, and they said that they were sexists and misogynists and they were fostering a toxic work culture. And then we found out that the comments IGN was referring to were completely mistranslated. So, why at this point would anybody trust them for news or opinions on video games when they're constantly proving they can't be trusted? And we never got any sort of confirmation regarding this, but a couple of months ago, there was a very big rumor circulating that Sweet Baby Inc. was actually extorting Game Science, trying to get them to hire Sweet Baby as narrative consultants and almost like a PR firm for $7 million. Basically, Sweet Baby saw the controversy surrounding them, the fake controversy made up by IGN and, of course, mistranslated, and they knew that Game Science was receiving some backlash, so they decided to reach out to them and say, hey, listen, for $7 million, we will consult on your game, we will make it more appropriate for global audiences, and Game Science rejected that. That is just a rumor, though. Of course, take it with a grain of salt. There was never any hard proof that that was the case, but that doesn't mean that it isn't interesting to think about because Sweet Baby has been a company that has been embroiled in so much controversy themselves, but it looks like Game Science just never really cared about making something for global audiences, and they simply wanted to create something that they felt passionate about, and it looks like gamers are really enjoying their vision because so many people are super hyped for this release. I, of course, will be streaming it on release day. It's a title I've been looking forward to for a long time, and I've been super hyped for it, like so many other gamers. So if you are interested in watching a full unbiased playthrough, of course, I will be streaming it on the channel. But for now, that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.